All right, San Francisco 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. Where have we heard this before? This is definitely something that, has happened a few times now. Typically goes San Francisco's way as of late. But you know what? Let's talk about this specific matchup because, of course, these two teams have played before. It came down to a last-second field goal. But let's talk about this before we get into that. So what you see on the screen, this is where each team ranks in specific categories according to PFF grades. So for the 49ers, they're, passing, which is usually Jimmy Garoppolo, although a little bit of Trey Lance, ranked 16th this year. For the Packers, their coverage was 7th best. And for the 49ers, their wide receiving core ranked as best in football according to PFF. Also worth noting, the Packers rush the passer very well, second best pass rush, but also for the 49ers, they pass block very well. They have the 7th best pass blocking. So that's good on good there. It'll be interesting to see who wins that matchup. So that's fascinating. Also going over to the running game, this might be an area where the 49ers can have some success. The running back room itself hasn't been spectacular, but that's kind of the Kyle Shanahan thing, right? It's less about the running back, more about the run blocking, and the run blocking has been tied for first in football this year, so that's very good. Packers run defense, not horrible, but mediocre, so maybe there's some pathway to success there. Also, this stat is very interesting to me. I wanted to talk about this, and we can get into it a little bit later on as well. Jimmy Garoppolo, very good when he is blitzed, a 122.1 passer rating when blitzed. That's 4th best in football. However, Jimmy Garoppolo has a 89.2 passer rating when he isn't blitzed, which is 21st best in football. This is out of about 40 quarterbacks, as long as you have 20% of eligible snaps. The Packers don't blitz too often. Packers blitz 25th most in football. So this means that that's kind of a good matchup for Green Bay. Let's go over here now. So these are the yardage totals from the first time these two teams played each other. You see they're pretty heavily in Green Bay's favor. Everything is more green than more red. Green Bay had 6.0 yards per play on the day. The 49ers, just 4.6. These are the overall offensive statistics. Some interesting stuff here. I mean, Garoppolo's numbers, not spectacular, not horrible, but not spectacular, kind of just fine. The rushing totals, though, not great. Not a lot of yards per attempt. So that's fascinating, right? We think of this as a good matchup where the 49ers can run with the football, but they didn't really run that effectively. And in fact, a couple of the bigger runs were a George Kittle run and a Brandon Ayuk run, which, listen, those yards still count. But in terms of, just a traditional handoff, not working out too well. At least it didn't work out too well the last time these two teams played each other all the way back in week 3. And also for the receiving game, George Kittle had a big day, and then some other stuff. Deebo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk, Brandon Ayuk, and Mohamed Sanu all had contributions in this one. Let's go over here now. So this is where every 49ers offensive player ranked in terms of PFF grades in that game when they played each other earlier. You see at the top, George Kittle. You have both your tackles there. So, not surprising that good players at the top there. What is interesting, I think the most interesting thing, is going all the way towards the bottom of this list. Jimmy Garoppolo was the worst graded player according to PFF. So on one hand, you could argue that's concerning. The flip side, though, is that, hey, well, if Garoppolo played horrible and was our worst player on offense and we still nearly beat Green Bay, isn't that optimistic that he probably won't play horrible this time and we'll have, more yards and more stuff go our way and win this time? You could make that argument, but of course, we need more context, so we will get into the film in just a second. To show Green Bay, I do find something interesting is you look at the highest graded player who had a significant portion of his team's snaps here. That's Jair Alexander at number 3 overall. Also Devondre Campbell high up. Of course, he's been good all season. You go all the way towards the bottom, you got a couple of players, Chandon Sullivan, who got a significant amount of snaps, 44 snaps, did not have a great day. Also, Dean Lowry didn't have a great day, but a lot of these guys sort of towards the end are players who just didn't play a lot on top of it. Anyways, let's get into the film, and the first thing I want to talk about is the run defense, right? What happened? This isn't a great run defense on paper, however, it had a good day, and that's all that matters, is what are you actually doing? And something like this is also interesting because Green Bay played a decent amount of 2 safety deep coverages, which usually makes it difficult to stop the run. But a lot of what they did well was just somebody winning their matchup. Look, this time it's going to be just Kenny Clark. And a lot of what San Francisco likes to do is just have a lot of one-on-one blocks and, pull guys over to the left or to the right. And if you're going to do that, everyone has to make their blocks. And it just seems like Green Bay did a great job of somebody winning. Look, Clark's going to blow up this play a little bit, and while he doesn't actually make the tackle, he messes up the timing and allows the tackle to be made for a tackle for a loss. So a lot of times that's just it. It's just one guy making the play. So for Green Bay, that's the hope, is that, listen, you guys want to say you can run all over us. We are not the same team we were 2 years ago. You're not going to win the game only throwing it 8 times this time, probably. You're going to have to throw the ball more. Like, this one's going to be another one here, where what's going to happen is it's going to be actually Preston Smith this time who's going to be the hero. It's fullback Kyle Juszczyk who's going to be blocking him one-on-one. And again, this is kind of going to be a run to the offense's right, which is towards the bottom of the screen, towards Smith. But watch what Smith does. Look, Smith wins this matchup and kind of just gets in the way of a player who was in the fullback position on that play. So basically what you're doing is you're taking away two guys, and that's George Kittle, a great blocker to take away if you can do it. So that's kind of what Smith was able to do, and now, okay, someone's going to be unblocked here. As you see, that kind of screws up the running scheme there, and you're not able to gain anything. So if you can continue to win these one-on-one stuff, that's the key to stopping the 49ers run defense. Again, not exactly too technical analysis here. Hey, win your matchups. That's how you win the run game. Yeah, of course. But they were able to do it well the first time. Will they be able to do it well the second time? Remains to be seen. Let's go over to this play now. This is interesting. I thought that San Francisco did not the best job early on at just running the simple stuff. Like, for example, this play, it's quarters coverage. And the way this works is you have a receiver running over the middle, and you have a halfback kind of following him and going to step, behind him. And essentially the way this works is typically a linebacker who's covering right in that area is going to run further over the middle with the first receiver, and then you hit the halfback. But it doesn't always work out that way. Watch how right when this play begins, you see that the linebacker just passes off your receiver, Brandon Ayuk, on this play, which means that you should hit Ayuk. That's the read here, but Garoppolo seemingly just doesn't pick it up. He still throws it to the check down, which also ends up getting dropped, so that doesn't help out too much. So this play was, could have worked, but just didn't work out as well as we would have liked it to. So good defense by Green Bay, but also maybe Garoppolo could have noticed it and done something well later on. So that's another factor here. A couple things like this might be the key to San Francisco's success. Is what you do when you play the Green Bay Packers is you're going to see a lot of disguises. They like to disguise very well, and they're really good at it. That's kind of a new thing that's made this Green Bay Packers team this year a lot better than Green Bay Packers teams in previous years. It's just the way they disguise their coverages. They have two safeties deep here, but it's actually going to be a cover 3 zone, stuff like that. However, if you just basically guess and you say, hey, let's just run a route that you see on the screen, Brandon Ayuk's route, these kind of areas of the field tend to be open regardless of if it's cover 2 or cover 3. So doing this kind of stuff can still be a benefit. And of course, if it's man coverage, might not work out as well, but it's not. Watch how when Garoppolo takes the snap right here, you're going to notice that Ayuk is relatively open. There is a linebacker in front, but Garoppolo can make this throw. Garoppolo does make this throw, and you're able to pick up some yards. So this is a way you're able to, move the ball down the field, and this is something that I think Kyle Shanahan will try to do. It's just sometimes you just have to guess. Like, sometimes you just say, hey, we think this coverage could be coming, and if it's not, then so be it. Garoppolo, just don't screw it up. Don't throw it to the other team. Like, something like this is another example of really a very similar play, actually. I mean, it's almost identical. It's cover 2 this time, but again, like I said, this stuff you can, it's not too different, and also you can tell your receivers to, hey, read, and if it's cover 2, do something different. Like, you can have option routes on these plays. As you see right when this play begins, you're going to notice that right here, again, you have an opening, but it's not wide open. This is going to be a tough throw. However, Garoppolo does make that tough throw, and you're able to pick up some yards right there. That's kind of one of the things that Garoppolo does very well, is he can make those types of plays. So there is reason for optimism for San Francisco. The issue, though, is how often is this going to work? Because a lot of times this stuff didn't get open, and there wasn't too much Garoppolo could do. They did get off to a slow start in this game. That's a thing that happened. All right, final prediction time for this game. The first time these two teams played, the 49ers scored 28 points on 10 possessions, which is 2.8 points per drive. San Francisco scores 2.32 points per drive on the year, and Green Bay gives up 2.18 points per drive on the year. I'm guessing that it's going to be somewhere in that range, in between 2.2 and 2.3 points per drive in this game. My final prediction is the 49ers score 2.3 points per drive on 11 drives, which would be a total of 25 points. Not an awful offensive day by any means, but I don't think they're going to be spectacular either. I think that Green Bay does kind of match up decently well against them, actually, even though the narrative from seasons past is that the 49ers can run all over them. Well, they didn't the first time. So that's something that I do find interesting, and kind of a reason why I'm willing to give Green Bay a little bit more of an edge here than I think some other people might. I don't think this is a bad matchup for Green Bay whatsoever. I don't think it's like a great matchup either, but I just don't think it's a bad matchup. I think it's kind of like a neutral matchup to me. It's certainly not going to be what we saw last week where really, Kyle Shanahan was able to just game plan all over Dan Quinn. I don't think you're going to get that this time. So, will 25 points be enough to beat the Green Bay Packers? You'll have to watch my follow-up video where I talk about the Packers offense, how they match up against the 49ers defense. Check that one out. Should be out tomorrow on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed. Be ready for that one. And let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree with my thoughts on this 49ers team? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.